If you are a fan of softball, you are going to love the Fastpitch TV show. From softballjunk.com, we're bringing you more softball than anyone on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Hello, I'm your host, Gary Leland, and this is the Fastpitch TV show. Make sure and take a look at all my videos, blogs, and softball information at my website, Fastpitch.tv. Now, the National Fastpitch Coaches Association, also known as the NFCA, had their national convention earlier in the year. If you're not familiar with the NFCA, you really should visit their website at nfca.org. Now, earlier this year at their national convention, they inducted 4 new members into their Hall of Fame. Now, in this episode, I'm going to bring you the acceptance speech from Minnesota State softball head coach Lori Meyer. But before that starts, let's watch this short video about my softball magazine, which you can find at fastpitchmagazine.com.
Oops, sorry. I was reading this month's issue of the Fastpitch magazine. What? You're not familiar with the Fastpitch magazine? Watch this. You are going to love it. Looks great, right? Want to find more about the #1 coaching tool on the internet? Go to fastpitchmagazine.com today.
For the past 29 years and a staggering 1,560 total games, Lori Meyer has worked diligently to turn Minnesota State Mankato into one of the premier Division II programs in the nation. A 967-game winner, she has been responsible for over 95% of the Mavericks' all-time victories, as well as for coaching 19 All-Americans, 77 All-Conference, North Central Conference, and Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference performers, and 104 academic All-Conference recipients. She and her staff were also honored as the 2011 NFCA Central Region Coaching Staff of the Year after her squad finished 54-16. with a 5th place finish at the NCAA Championship. During her career, Minnesota State has secured 3 NCC titles, 2 NSIC titles, made 11 trips to the NCAA Division II National Tournament, and a pair of trips to the NCAA Championship's Final 8. Here to introduce Lori is Ann Walker.
I'm just going to tell you right now, I have not had 2 glasses of wine. And I'll admit I'm nervous. Usually when I'm on stage with the microphone in front of me, I'm doing karaoke. So I'd rather be doing that if anybody has any... What a great night this is. I come from the basketball world, and I recognize many of the names, all the legends that were strolling right in front of this stage right here. And for me, this is a special night just to be in a room filled with all the coaching legends and the current coaches and all the success that is sitting right here in this room, whether your coaches or ex-athletes, GAs, administrators, whatever. This is a really spectacular evening. I think you're the one in charge of this, right, Lacey? Okay. I want to congratulate the other 3 Hall of Fame inductees. I had no idea that prompt was going to be right there, so I try not to look. If you don't know, there's a prompt there, and you see yourself. So Rick, do you still have those red and white Hawaiian shorts? Those are sweet. Those are sweet. And you got some pipes, man. You got some guns. Joan, holy cow. I just want to know, can you turn water into wine? And a special congratulations to Lori, a dear friend of mine. Very deserving honor, and I want to thank you so much for allowing me to share in this night with you, and I hope I do justice to all your accomplishments. Lori called me late summer, and you know, we've stayed in touch over the last 10 years since I left Mankato. And she called me, and her usual, hey, what's going on? Idle chat. And then after about 10 minutes of idle chat, oh, by the way, I've been inducted into the Fastpitch Coaches Association Hall of Fame. Would you give my introduction speech? I'm like, wait a second. You wait 10 minutes into the conversation to let me know you've been inducted? I mean, that is amazing, a well-deserved honor. And she just kind of passes over it. And if you know Lori, that's kind of her. You know, whatever. You know, I don't compare to this person, this person, this person. You're outstanding. So I really appreciate the offer to give your introduction. Oh, and she did say, after I agreed to do it, quickly agreed. I said, absolutely, I will do it. She said, oh, well, wait a second. You have to be very discerning, Walker. I said, okay. I believe there was a pre-convention seminar by Jeff Jansen, and it was called Building and Sustaining a Championship Culture. Well, that is exactly what Lori has done at Minnesota State. She's in her 30th year. As you just heard, 29 years, 1,560 games. I can't even imagine that number of games. 967 wins, and if she stays consistent and the Minnesota weather cooperates, I'm pretty sure she'll reach 1,000 this year. 19 All-Americans, numerous conference titles. You heard it all before, 11 NCAA championship appearances, 2 times in the championship game. Conference Coach of the Year 7 times, Midwest Region Coach of the Year 3 times, and I could go on and on and on, and you can read about her. Pull up her bio. I could spend the next hour talking about her. The past few years, her teams have really excelled. Her teams have been to the tournament, I think, the last 7 years in a row. Just countless number of wins. Set many, many records, especially in 2011. I think the Mavericks had more hits than a Miley Cyrus video. Coach Meyer has established the Mavericks softball program as one of the elite programs in the nation. Again, I could spend as long as Joan did up here just talking about Coach Meyer's accomplishments, but you kind of already know that, and so I wanted to paint a picture for you of Lori away from softball. Are you nervous yet? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so then I won't tell them about the time you were on the bar twerking. Okay, I won't. No, she really didn't do that. If you know Lori, she really didn't do that. She grew up a tomboy, small town Iowa. She was a daddy's girl. She was full of energy. That has not changed, and nothing was going to stop her. Nothing was going to slow her down. When she had something in her mind, that was it. She loved horses, still loves horses. She got on a pony when she was young, fell off, broke her arm, was in a cast. As soon as that cast was off, she gets back on, breaks the other arm. She's played numerous sports in high school. She played every sport that was offered. Again, if you know Lori, that's who she is. She was the Female Athlete of the Year in high school. She was on the basketball team. She was on the 20-20-20 club. You think points, rebounds, and assists. No, she got in when they were up 20, down 20, or 20 seconds left to go. That's not true either. Lori was an outstanding athlete. She loves being outdoors, and I guess that's a good thing if you're a softball coach. She loves trail riding with her friends, a great love of horses. She has a horse whose name is Top Gun Rock and Roll. If she wants to tell you that story, she can. She calls it Rocky. And she also has a great passion for working in her vegetable garden, and I believe she will take orders for homemade salsa. I've known Coach Meyer for 15 years, back when neither one of us needed reading glasses. I met her in August of 1998 when I came on campus to interview for the head women's basketball job. She was part of the search committee. She picked me up. She took me everywhere on campus, and there became an instant connection between the two of us. I got the job later that month, and our friendship started. Our mentoring of each other started. Like I said, there was an instant connection. We became good friends, maybe because of our similarities. We're both from small town Iowa, which, by the way, I haven't heard anything about you, but I know you're from Iowa, so I know it's a good thing. Maybe it's because we share similar coaching philosophies and coaching styles. Or maybe it's because opposites attract. She taught me things, I taught her things. She taught me about horse riding. I took her to a drag show concert. Oh, Coach Meyer, there's many stories to tell. I don't know if you can see, yeah, they can see. We spent numerous days in each other's office, talking about coaching strategies, about kids that have pissed us off, administrators, just, you know the drill. You sit in each other's office and you share things, and you share frustrations and joys and all the other things. And we mentored each other. And I remember it was in, I don't remember, maybe 99, 2000. They weren't having a great year. They weren't having a 56 and 17 year, but they weren't having an awful year either. And she came in my office. They'd lost a couple games in a row, and she says, "I think I'm going to get fired." I said, "Coach Meyer, are you kidding me?" She goes, "No, Walker, I think I need to look for another job. I think I'm going to get fired." I said, "Don't worry about it. Your team's going to turn around." I go, "Hell, Coach Meyer, you're probably going to be in the Hall of Fame someday." That is a true story. And here she is. So, again, we spent many days going down the hallway to each other's office. She was a huge supporter of mine. She was always in the stands, always saw me before I went out on the court, gave me a hug, gave me a high five. And we spent many nights together, too. I always went over to her house. She was always inviting me over to her house, and beers and cocktail, and again, talking work and life and love, relationships, the things that really mattered. And that's what you really get a feel for Coach Meyer. She's touched countless lives, and that's what it's all about, right? Not just players, but ex-staff, current staff, Molly, Crystal. I've had the good fortune over the last couple of days. Again, I'm not in the softball world. I got to meet her current assistants, some of her ex-players. I do know a lot of her ex-staff because I've worked at the university that she worked at. And it's a resounding theme when I just say, "Hey, talk to me about Coach Meyer." And there's usually a laugh, a smile, and it's, "Oh man, Coach Meyer, she's a great coach, but you know what? She's a great person. I love her. She truly cares about us." And you get that over and over and over and over. And it's not just her staff, and it's not just her athletes. It's sports information people, it's secretaries, it's administrative assistants, it's janitors, it's anybody and everybody that she comes across. She's passionate, thoughtful. She's a teacher of the game. She's extremely giving of her time, of herself, maybe sometimes to a fault. Driven and intense, fun and funny. Could tell another story from Howl at the Moon the other night. She's brutally honest. I think that's one of her really strong characteristics. She is brutally honest. She doesn't tell you what you want to hear. She tells you what she thinks you need to hear. And that is, that is a characteristic that I think, it's special because not everybody possesses it. But she is brutally honest, and she's real. You exemplify what coaching is all about, Coach Meyer. On behalf of all those here who know her, and for those who couldn't be here, a heartfelt congratulations. I'm thankful to know you. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to work with you and be mentored by you, even though you probably didn't even know it. And it is with great honor and pleasure to introduce such an outstanding coach, but an even better mentor and friend, Coach Meyer.
For the past 30 years, Lori Meyer has occupied the third base coaching box at Minnesota State. That's a span of 1,560 games, 967 victories, 19 All-Americans, 77 All-Conference NCC and NSIC performers, and 104 academic All-Conference recipients.
Well, every good coach, I think, puts their own imprint on their team, and Lori for sure has put her imprint on the program at Minnesota State. Year in and year out, she's had good kids and good programs, and you know that when you're going to face Minnesota State, it's going to be a battle.
I think you can tell she's really charismatic as a coach. When you're watching her, you can tell she just interacts with players in a really fantastic way. Even during games, she's teaching them, she's learning, along with the players, so she's really creating a quality program. But on the sideline, you can tell that she's really invested in them as a person too, so she really tries to produce those quality students, not just quality athletes. So she's really well-rounded as a person, and I think that's just a really attractive thing about a coach.
Well, being as Lori was a 3-time letter winner as an undergraduate, I figured that she had learned the pros and cons of her program and would bring the best with her. Then she came to Mankato State, and she was a graduate assistant for 2 years in softball and volleyball. So I was able to watch her work ethic and how she completed her tasks. And I found that she was respected by her players and the athletic staff, and I thought that she had good qualities there.
She knows the game, and sometimes when you know the game, you want the players to know that as soon as possible, but it's a slow process and it takes them a while. So I think she really developed patience and knowing that, hey, it's going to take time, and but she always used her seniors, her juniors and seniors to help coach the freshmen and sophomores. So the player involvement and her using the players to help coach, I think really benefited her.
During that time, Minnesota State has won 3 North Central Conference titles and 2 Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference titles, made 11 trips to the NCAA Division II National Tournament, and a pair of trips to the NCAA championships. Those are not just numbers of a mere coach. Those are marks that some would say coaching legends are made of.
She was also demanding of her players and of the program, and she had behavior rules, and her players bought into that, and she ran a tight ship. She was also feisty, and she fought for her program and fought for her student athletes.
I found Lori to be a very well-prepared coach. Again, with very good kids. She always had a great program, and I think she saw the bigger picture in softball.
She's not only coaching softball, but she's coaching relationships, and she was so good at that the girls really wanted to play for her.
She always instilled in us to play for the team on the front of your jersey rather than the number or the name on your back. And so that's one of those teamwork aspects that I've taken with me throughout my entire life.
One great thing about Lori is, like I said, she gets to know you as a person. She gets to know what makes you tick, not just on the field, but off the field as well. So she really pushes you to succeed in all aspects. She really tries to get the best out of you. So I think that's really a great part of her, and she just gets to know you as a person. So it's not just a coach-player relationship, it's a colleague as well. So she's someone you can look up to while you're there and really kind of model yourself around and try to be like.
As a team, we used to watch Remember the Titans on the bus quite often, and so there's a couple moments in that movie, as well as in Miracle, where the coach gives an inspirational speech, and I remember Coach Meyer, it was completely silent on the bus, and she stood up and started walking up and down the aisles and saying, if I play on one leg, I can play on one leg, and just kind of took us all a little bit for a surprise, but definitely one of my fonder memories of her.
The 2011 campaign was arguably one of Meyer's greatest at Minnesota State, as the Mavericks finished 54-16 and tied for 5th at the national championships.
Coach Meyer has always challenged us and pushed us to improve each day and each year and get better and adapt, and so without that encouragement and advice, we wouldn't be where we were.
You know, the biggest thing I remember is not necessarily, teaching the X's and O's of softball, but just having those conversations with her when I was at Mankato and just sitting in her office and talking for, at least an hour at a time. I'm just getting to know her, and she got to know me at the same time, and like I said, she found out what makes you tick and what motivates you, and she really gets to know you as a person and pushes you, and I like to do the same with my athletes.
She definitely played a huge role in my academic success. Since one of my first years here, we sat down and kind of tried to plan out a roadmap, because it's pretty hard to be a nursing major and be in athletics at the same time. Without her encouragement and help there, I probably wouldn't have made it through the program.
Meyer ranks 32nd in all divisions in career victories and is 12th in NCAA Division II in career wins. 7-time League Coach of the Year and 3-time Midwest Regional Coach of the Year.
Coach Meyer always challenged us and pushed us to get better with each day and live each moment or each pitch by pitch or day by day. And so I really take that with me into the real world and to my career, and just go day by day and not try to get too far ahead of myself.
Lori was just fun to be around. Just because I think we both had the same passion for teaching our players as much as they can. It doesn't surprise me she's successful because of the knowledge of the game, but being able to teach that knowledge and her players understanding what she was trying to get to them.
Well, I've hired a lot of young coaches, and they have all the qualifications. You wonder what's going to happen, and Lori turned out to be the best. She had lots of heart, lots of desire, and a good work ethic, and she had success.
I think Lori has given herself and all of her energies to making softball a great game, and to giving that same energy to her school and to the NFCA and her teams. And I think she deserves a lot of credit, and I'm so happy and thrilled to see her going into the NFCA Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Lori.
2013 NFCA Hall of Fame inductee, Lori Meyer.
What an amazing night. This night has always been my most favorite night of the convention because it's a time when we get to honor people that have given their life to the sport of softball, that have empowered and impacted the lives of so many young ladies. And I feel so very, very fortunate to be able to be up here on this stage tonight. And it is a lot more overwhelming up here than out there. As I was talking with our sports psychologist, Dave, who works with our softball team prior to coming down here, and he was asking me questions. Are you prepared? Are you ready? And I said, I think I got my speech pretty much ready. I think I'm ready for it. A little nervous. And he said, Coach, just remember, think of it this way. You've already crushed the ball. You've already hit the home run. That night, you just need to run the bases and touch them all.
That's great.
However, I forgot to ask him, what do I do when I forget page 1 of my speech? So, in sitting here thinking about what am I going to do, I heard the words of my team. Coach, it's game day. Just go do it. Get up there and do it. So here we go. I'd like to say congratulations to the other inductees, to Rick, who we play each other many times. Every time I play Rick's teams, it's an intense, competitive battle. But I appreciate those games. So again, thank you for everything that you've done in those battles. To Joan Joyce, you were the first softball name that I ever really heard. My dad saw you pitch somewhere, and he talked about you. So again, I grew up knowing Joan Joyce was a big-time softball name, but holy buckets. After tonight, oh my God. I don't know anybody with 12 Hall of Fames. And by the way, can I have your autograph? And Patrick, whoever would have thought that when you were working at UNI in the SID office, and we were playing in the UNI Dome tournaments, and you were running down the box scores and giving them to me, that you would become this amazing coach and such an ambassador for the sport of softball, and that two people with ties to Fayette, Iowa, would end up on this big stage together tonight. Who would have thought that 20 years ago? Again, I would like to thank the NFCA and Lacey Lee and her staff and the Hall of Fame committee and the people who nominated me and supported me through this process. Thank you for such an amazing and prestigious honor and everything that you do. And thank you for flying halfway across the country to induct me. Yes, was I nervous what you might say, or could have said. But again, thank you for sharing this night with me and being a mentor also to me and an amazing friend. You have been through me with good times and bad times in the coaching world, and I appreciate that. Thank you. When my name was announced last December at this event, I was in awe. I had weak knees and was speechless. That really doesn't happen to me very often. Matter of fact, people didn't even think I was in the room because I couldn't even stand up until the room cleared. As I've had this past year to reflect and think about this night, I find myself still in awe of this honor because I simply go to work every day and do my job and have fun. I live by the advice and the wisdom that Georgine Brock, you saw her in the video, she was our women's athletic director at Minnesota State, that hired me at the young age of 24, right out of grad school. I was fortunate that she was willing to take a chance and believe in me. And I was also very fortunate she was on sabbatical my first semester and didn't see all my mistakes that I made. But the values that she instilled in me and taught me were respect the game. Respect where the game came from, its roots, its history. Become knowledgeable about that. Respect the coaches before you who paved the way forward. As it was their hard work and vision that created this opportunity for me to be a part of. Learn from the great coaches in your sport. Ask questions of them so that you can continue to challenge yourself and grow as a coach, even if you embarrass yourself. I believe it was at my second or third convention, and I finally got brave enough. I was getting to become familiar, at least I thought I was becoming familiar with some of the big names in the sport. And one night, in a social setting, I thought, I'm going to get really brave here, and I'm going to walk up to Margie Wright and introduce myself and ask her a question or two. So I walk over to the table and I say, "Hi, Margie Wright, I'm Lori Meyer. I'd like to ask you this question. I watched your program in Fresno State, and and you just unawe me." There was a pause. There was a silence. And all of a sudden this person goes, "I'm not Margie Wright. I'm Cindy Bristol." And I immediately melted down to the floor. And that's the first time I've ever shared that story with Cindy, because I have been embarrassed for the last 28 years about that.
That's great.
Don't be afraid to step outside the box when necessary. Accept failure and learn from it. I mean, we certainly have failure in our game. I mean, if you're 3 for 10 in our game, you're awesome. That means you failed 7 times. So you got to be able to accept the failure. Understand you will make mistakes, and own up to them and learn from them. Be able to step back, look at yourself, reflect about yourself, your game, your program. Leave your ego at the door, because it's about the student athletes that are in the Minnesota State University softball program or in your program. And lastly, get involved with your sport at the conference level, at the NCAA level, and at your professional level, the NFCA. I am proud to stand here and say that I have attended 29 of the 30 conventions. I can remember attending my first and second conventions and watching Linda Wells, Carol Spanks, Ray Allison, Sharon Backus, Margie Wright, Cindy Bristol, Judy Martino, Sharon Backus, Sue Enquist, riding in the elevator with those amazing people. I was so intimidated by them and so in awe of them all. But I also realized that I was surrounded by greatness, and that is what the sport and what this association was about. And that out of those small conversations, those first couple of conventions, is what this amazing organization has grown to be. At this time, I'd like to thank my family. As I grew up in rural Iowa on a dairy farm with 4 brothers, I was the only girl in the area for many years, for many miles. I was very much a tomboy. And yes, I was daddy's little girl, as my brothers would remind me on that. My dad passed away when I was a sophomore in college. My dad always wanted the best for me, and he always told me, go for it. He understood my passion for athletics. He always had time between, if you live on a dairy farm, you're always switching out cows, you're always switching out the milkers, and doing that. But he always had time, maybe in between, to go out, catch a few pitches, throw the ball a few times. Or I also liked to run, and I was in track, and we lived on gravel roads, quarter mile, down to the stop sign and back, and I wasn't smart enough to run sprints. I ran distance. I was thinking. But, he would time me or whatever, and I see if it was getting better. But his last words to me were, follow your dreams, stay strong, go forward, and make a mark. Dad, I know you're here beside me tonight. Thank you. I love you. To my mom, who was unable to travel down here, I broke her heart being a tomboy. She would love to have had that daughter that could wear the frilly lace dress. It wasn't me. I'd always rather be outside, leading my 4-H calf around, or riding my pony, or playing ball with my brothers, than in the house learning how to sew. Mom, if you could see me tonight, it may not be lacy and frilly, but I do clean up pretty well. My mom taught me to be independent and confident and have perseverance. She was the one who kicked me out of the house one October morning to drive up to Minnesota State when I wasn't hearing anything from MSU about my graduate application, my graduate assistant application. And if you know my mom, she's a little feisty. And she said, get in that car, drive up there, and see what's going on. Straighten those people out. So I got in the car, drove up there, and lo and behold, I get up there. Somehow, they lost my application. they lost my folder. I came back a day and a half later. I had a job, graduate assistantship. It's not too often you thank your parents for kicking you out of the house. But she had great foresight kicking me out that November morning, because that was my arrival to Minnesota State. And look where it's gotten me. To the NFCA Hall of Fame. Thanks, Mom. I also need to thank my 4 brothers. They taught me the importance of a strong work ethic and to embrace the opportunity given to you and to understand sacrifice. Living on a dairy farm requires a big commitment. You're married to the farm because you've got to be there twice a day. And it's a lot of hard work. My 3 older brothers had to sacrifice playing sports for the work that needed to be done on the farm. I got their opportunity to play sports and to make it a career path for me. To them, I'm forever indebted. I do have one of my brothers here and his wife and his daughter tonight. Douglin and Amy, please stand. Again, thank you for providing me that opportunity. Also, thank you for providing me and my staff, sometimes a bed, a shower, a meal, when we're in the area on a recruiting trip, with sometimes short notice, again. And to my niece, Amy, who reminds me that there are multiple colors in the color wheel. The world doesn't only see the color purple. I also need to thank my Grandma Larson, who taught me strength, work ethic, and taught me to love life. I occasionally took my grandma recruiting with me. Sometimes we went to that Iowa State high school tournament. She loved it. And you know, I loved having her. I know there's a lot of coaches that can say they took their grandma recruiting with them. I was proud to take her with me. I know you're also here tonight beside me, watching and smiling down. Thank you. I also need to thank a nephew that lives in Arkansas, Zachary Meyer. He'd come up from Arkansas, probably from the age of 4 till he got involved in football at his own age of 12, 13 down in Arkansas. If you know Arkansas, their football is serious. Well, maybe not the last few years.
It's you and I.
Yep. But he would come recruiting with me. And he got the nickname of being Super Scout. From, other coaching friends that realized he was with me and stuff and being out and about. And he got to be pretty good at identifying talent when we'd be at the tournaments or whatever. And he also got to be very good at watching us during the spring, when we'd occasionally talk, and he'd call me or text me and say, "Aunt Lori, what's going on?" I'd say, "What do you mean, Zach, what's going on?" "I've been watching your scores and your stats. You know those couple kids that you recruited? They're not doing very well." "Have you noticed? The ones that I kind of picked out are at the top." Thank you. He wanted to come, but he's finishing up college, and he couldn't miss a day of teaching today. So, to my Super Scout, and I'm so proud of him because he's following into the athletic world also. Okay. I'd also like to thank MSU Mankato. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have an institution and administration that believed in me, that supported me. I mean, I've spent my whole coaching career at Minnesota State University. 2 years as a GA, This will be my 30th year as a head coach. In this day and age of athletics, that's not the norm. I have made mistakes, I have lost, I have been outspoken, I have challenged my administration, I have reminded them Title IX does exist. I've also made many good decisions. I have won. I have seen our university embrace Title IX and do the right thing with gender equity. The administration and athletic department has allowed me to grow the softball program at MSU. When I took over, they played 20 games. We now schedule 56. So again, thank you, MSU, for the past 30 years, and hopefully many more to come. This award is dedicated to all the student athletes that have come throughout the MSU softball program, and to my former and current coaching staffs. I've been fortunate to have had many great assistant coaches. And again, as we've kind of heard throughout this convention, various speakers, assistant coaches can make or break a head coach. Hire assistant coaches that make you look good. I've done a good job of hiring assistant coaches that make me look good. I have a former graduate assistant in the crowd, Kim Zarling, who's now coaching at Beloit College. I have my current staff in attendance. Crystal and Molly, will you please stand? I'd like to thank you for all the hard work you've done this past year in getting me ready, which sometimes can be hard and scary and difficult for this event and for the video. It's outstanding. Crystal's coached with me for 8 years. And she brings so much to the table. She brings passion, energy, gets me to step outside the box, and just has a great knack for challenging me when she realizes I'm getting predictable. You were placed on this earth to coach. I hope you see and realize this phenomenal talent that you have. And you have the potential to be standing up here one day. Thank you. I also need to thank all the student athletes that have come through the MSU softball program, because without them, this award would not be possible. And I have 2 in attendance, Kelsey and Chelsea. Please stand. It makes me so proud that you are also in the coaching field. As coaches, we are dream weavers, and we have the ability to make young ladies sparkle as they realize their dreams. Tonight, the many young ladies that have worn the MSU uniform have made me sparkle as I receive this prestigious award. Just as we want our mothers to be proud of us, so do our players want us to be proud of them. I am so very proud of each and every young lady that has ever been a part of Minnesota State University softball. Lastly, there are so many other wonderful people, mentors, that I have met. I thank you for being a part of my life and bringing me so much enjoyment in the great sport of softball. Thank you all. Viva Fastpitch.
The This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all of our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv. Looking for a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount on all regular price bats on the website. That's right, $30 discount. Just text the word Fastpitch to 555-888 and Gary will send you a discount code good for $30 off your next softball bat at SoftballJunk.com. FYI, that code's also good at the Arlington, Texas store.
Welcome back. Now that last short clip, well, that was my daughter Amanda telling you about my website, softballjunk.com. Make sure you text the word Fastpitch to 555-888 and get your discount code for $30 off your next softball bat. And you can use that code at checkout to save your $30 over and over and over and over. It's really a great deal. You just need to text Fastpitch to 555-888 and I'll text you back the discount code. Now, if you enjoy this show, I ask that you at least check out my website, softballjunk.com, the next time you're looking for softball equipment. Now, if I offer you a competitive price, well, please buy from me and show your support for all the free content I bring you month after month after month. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and please tell your friends about the Fastpitch TV show. And make sure and take a look at the website we have set up for you at fastpitch.tv. Until next time, this is your host, Gary Leland, saying goodbye, and thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all of our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv.